It's equally scary for the clients to move in that direction. I have clients who were paying me $2,000 until last year. They are paying me 20 now, 20 grand.
Yeah, it's crazy that a client will pay you 10 times more.
Exactly, because before that, I just wanted to do their taxes and that's it. Now the same client, we have monthly meeting once a month. I work with them in the capacity of a fractional CFO. So we do their bookkeeping as well. We do the tax planning, the tax preparation, pretty much everything. So we're doing a lot of work as well. Income has increased a lot more from this one client compared to the time that has increased that we're putting in.
Welcome to the Business Strategy for CPAs podcast, where I help you work less and make more. My name is Geraldine Carter. Listeners of this podcast span the journey of being a CPA from the far along, perhaps making $1 million or more, to the part-timers, to the solos, and even to those who are perhaps in private and contemplating a move to public. Wherever you are on your path, getting your business to a place where it sustains your financial needs without usurping all of your free time can be a challenge. But maybe that can be done quicker than you think. Here today to talk with me about his journey is my guest, Shaan Afridi. Shaan is a CPA who focuses on cash flow and tax planning for real estate investors and helps his clients clean up their messy books and understand their cash position so they can better capitalize on opportunities. Shaan is also a client, and we've been working together since about April. And in less than 8 months, and with 2 tax deadlines in between, Shaan has gone from pretty close to starting out on his own from scratch to more than 6 figures in revenue. Shaan, welcome to the Business Strategy for CPAs podcast.
Thank you, Geraldine. Appreciate that. It's an honor.
So let's give listeners a high-level sense of the journey you've taken. Just tell us in a sentence or two where you are now in your business. What's going on? How many clients do you have? What's your revenue like? How many hours are you working every week? And so on.
Well, right now, it's just been a year since I've been on my own. I cut the cord at my full-time job last year, so it's been a year. And currently, we are at almost $9,000 monthly recurring revenue. April was when we started seeking monthly recurring work, like the work that, you have to do every month and that pays you every month. So it's been like 7 months, and we are at around $9,000 monthly recurring revenue. I am working a lot less than what I used to when I was working for someone else. And what I've noticed is these days I think I'm only working like 5-6 hours a day. And it was pretty much the same during the October 15th deadline as opposed to working for someone else when we used to work like 12, 13, 14, 15 hours a day. The time that I'm spending at my business, at my work, is substantially reduced, and the income has substantially increased. So it's phenomenal. I'm really enjoying this new phase.
Awesome. I love it. And the $9,000 a month in recurring revenue, that doesn't include your annual tax, like strictly tax related revenue, right? No. This is just bookkeeping and advisory income. That's a service that I provide on a monthly basis to some of my clients, and it does not include any of the tax work. So can you give us just a feel, if you're up for it, of what the revenue on the tax work might be?
I think it's going to be, because I'm fairly new, so I would say I can't tell you an exact amount, but I would say 100 to 150 would be a good guess for tax work, because I'm honestly not even seeking just the tax work actively. I'm trying to sell these bundle packages that we have where we do the bookkeeping, advisory, tax planning, tax preparation, everything. So I think tax work is going to be another 100 to 150. I think that would be a fair estimate.
On top of the $9,000 monthly?
That's right.
And about how many clients do you have, ballpark?
Less than 150. It's going to be between 125 to 150.
Okay, cool. And how many clients are kind of monthly recurring work?
Oh gosh, monthly recurring are only 10. 10 clients are only monthly recurring work, and they are providing more than half of my income or more than half of my revenue. And
we're going to come back to the conversation about bookkeeping and margins in a little bit, but because, revenue is great and all, but at the end of the day, it's the bottom line. Can you just give us a high level sense of where your margins are overall?
I believe I'm on my way to 4x my net profit compared to calendar 2020.
Wait, Forex what? Say it again.
4x our bottom line, our net profit, compared to 2020.
Okay.
So just because I started focusing on the right thing and I was focusing on my business full time, we were able to 4x our. It's still a very small business, of course. It's not a huge business, but my income is going to be net income is going to be 4 times more than what we had last year. So that's good.
So tell us where you were before you went out on your own, just so listeners have a sense.
Well, I just was working with other regional firms here in Southern California. I was working there as a manager, and I was managing 200-300 clients. And I realized, because I was partially involved in the billing as well. I didn't used to do the billing, but I knew what the clients were billed for and what they were paying for the service. And I realized that I was not doing most of the work, but I was responsible for, getting the work done. And pretty much I wasn't actually signing the tax returns, but actually in a way I was solely responsible for the accuracy and for everything else and the effectiveness and everything. So I realized that maybe this is something that I have been doing for the past 4 years on side. My business, I was still running my business on side while working a day job. And at one point, I realized maybe I can handle all of it on my own and sign the tax returns and as well, and learn how to get new business, which is the most crucial part. And realize that maybe I can do it on my own and just cut the cord. I mean, at that point, my business was not sufficient. It wasn't at a point where it could pay my bills. So cutting the cord at my day job was a leap. But thankfully, I'm really glad I took it. And it paid off. So, it was, I think when I became a manager is when I realized that this is something that I can do from beginning to the end. So there's no point in, sharing, the income or sharing the revenue with someone else, when I can handle the entire thing on my own. So that's when I decided to just move on and just have my own thing full time.
There were 2 cords to cut, right? But that was about a year ago?
September, yes. Last year, September.
So you have built a solid base of clients very quickly. Can you tell us how you did that?
Getting new clients is the hardest part when you're starting off, and that's what I've learned. Doing taxes is something that I've been doing for like almost a decade, so I mean, I'm pretty comfortable with that. Taxes and accounting is something I'm very comfortable with. Getting new clients is a challenge. And I think the easiest way of doing that is just being as focused as you can, just zeroing in what you're looking for. And that's the toughest part, deciding what do you want to do. When I started working with you, we worked on niching, and I picked a niche. By the way, real estate is my niche for your listeners. So it was a bit nerve-wracking in the beginning because I was thinking like an accountant, not as a business owner. I was like, okay, I'll be doing real estate, but then I'll be losing on all this other work that is out there, that I can do. But the fact is, there's always going to be more work in your niche than you can handle. Doesn't matter what the niche is, So, and that's what I've realized when I decided what I want to do and I put the right message out there, inviting the right people, then I didn't have to go about looking for clients. The right clients looked me up and found me and came to me rather than me going to them. So that pretty much reduced my marketing and sales effort substantially, and the expenses, the advertising expense or the marketing expense got substantially reduced. The time that I had to spend on marketing was substantially reduced, and now the phone rings pretty much every day. They're not always the clients that I'm looking for, but half the time it is the client that I actually seek. It just made this whole process of getting new clients a lot more easier.
Yeah. Yes, it does. It makes getting the right kinds of clients to ring your phone so much easier. And like you say, there's so much more business in your niche than you can possibly handle.
It also makes the job a lot easier, like the operational part, because now you only have to now you only have to improve in this one segment of the tax law. I mean, also niching doesn't mean and correct me if I'm wrong, niching doesn't mean that you only have to do real estate. I mean, you can also, take more work. It's just that I don't actively seek it anymore. I only seek real estate work if someone else comes to me who needs help and, it's a good fit, then I don't mind taking them in just to, don't mean to put all my eggs in the same basket because, let's say in 2008, real estate CPAs would have, taken a big hit at that point because all the real estate investors got affected by the economic collapse. So it's okay to take more work. It's just that I don't actively seek it anymore. I mean, it comes to me naturally through referrals and, through other little bit of marketing that I do. It just makes the entire operational part a lot easier because now I only have to focus on the real estate, on improving my skills with the real estate taxation as opposed to just going about and trying to learn the entire tax code, which is practically impossible for any human being.
Yes. So what are you finding in terms of being able to add value to your real estate investing clients the more you work in this space? To what extent are you uncovering new ways to be like, oh, I could do this for them. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I hadn't thought of this before. Is that happening or not so much?
Oh, yeah, totally. Totally. I mean, that's it's about value more than anything else. And I think that's what I've learned over the year, that this whole domain, this line of work is transitioning into more of an advisory service than just a compliance-based service. You see what I'm saying? That's where the future is, I think, advisory, because that's where the value is. I mean, traditionally, an accountant's job was just to take the numbers and throw them on the forms and file it as accurately as possible. But in the recent times, I think in the last 10 or maybe 20 years, the accountants are taking this approach where they're telling their clients or the taxpayers that, yes, we're going to keep you compliant and we're going to keep you out of trouble, but it can be done while keeping your taxes to the minimum and while keeping your cash flows in the green. So that's the kind of approach that I want to take at this point, and that helped me a lot. I mean, because when you're adding that kind of value to our clients, because see, for a small business, I think nothing matters more than the cash flow. I mean, that's what keeps their business afloat. That's what pays their bills. So if they have enough cash and if you can help them manage it properly and add value in that area, then they'll be happy to pay you the premium price as well. So I think that has been a kind of a game changer for me, where I realized that, I have to move a transition from just a traditional accountant space to a space of an advisor who can just add value by reducing the tax liability and helping the clients manage their cash.
So talk a little bit about that transition, kind of the first time you went from being a traditional accountant to offering advisory for your first clients when we piloted. What was that experience like? Were you nervous? Were you like, there's no way they're going to go for this? Or were you like, yeah, totally, I got this. Of course they're going to want to pay me 4 times more than anybody's ever paid me for this. What was your thought process and what happened compared to what you thought was going to happen?
Well, it was magical. I mean, in a way that I still don't know how it happened exactly. But I think it's again about value. Yes, it was nerve-wracking, and I didn't think that I honestly didn't want to do that because I was a lot comfortable in my space as a traditional accountant who just does taxes. But what I realized was, I think if you want to build a practice, a non-traditional CPA firm or a practice that is that you enjoy working in, that's the way to go. Because a lot of times what happens is, tax preparation is a low margin work. 3 people have to get involved, like a staff, a manager, a partner. There are a lot of reviews and, a lot of effort that goes into it. So traditionally what CPAs have been doing is that they've been building these firms who does tax preparation more than anything else. And in order to make that business profitable, you have to have like 1,000 clients. What ends up happening is, in my experience, as I've seen like 3-4 other CPA firms very closely, the life of the owner or the life of the partner becomes a lot more stressful. After 10-15 years, they end up building a practice where their 100% involvement in the day-to-day operations is inevitable. I mean, they have to be there, they have to be involved in order to make money, as opposed to having a practice that is primarily built on advisory clients. I mean, you don't always have to get involved on a day-to-day basis. I mean, it's a lot easier to delegate the advisory work because again, it's not always 2 + 2 4. You have a bit of a wiggle room there. So I think it's easier to delegate that work, and as a result, the life of the owner, the life of the partner in charge is not going to be as stressful is what I've noticed. And I've seen people do that very closely where, their firm is doing more of an advisory work than just compliance work. And the owner enjoys a much better lifestyle as compared to those who just do the tax preparation work.
Okay, so 6 months ago, it was hard for you to imagine offering advisory services to your clients, but now you're in the swing of it. And how does it feel? And what would you say to the person who's like wants to head in that direction, but has a hard time imagining themselves having that conversation with their client? Like, how's it actually roll?
Well, again, it's equally scary for the clients to move in that direction. I mean, I have clients who were paying me $2,000 until last year. They are paying me 20 now.
Yeah.
20 grand.
10 times. Yeah. 10. It's crazy that a client will pay you 10 times more.
Exactly. Because before that, I just wanted to do their taxes and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, the same client, I mean, we have monthly meeting once a month. I work with them in the capacity of a fractional CFO. So we do their bookkeeping as well. We do the tax planning, the tax preparation, pretty much everything. So we're doing a lot of work as well. Income has increased a lot more from this one client compared to the time that has increased that we're putting in. So it's equally nerve-wracking for the client. You just have to, if they trust you as a tax preparer, they'll be happy to listen to what you have to offer. And, that's where you just have to make a sale. I mean, and just show them the value basically and convince them that, yeah, you will be paying me a lot more money, but the value you're going to be getting is going to be a lot more than what you're getting right now. And it's going to be worth it for you. So it's just about the value, I think, more than anything else. If you can show that to the client, anyone will be happy to pay you the premium price. And I think what I have noticed is it's a lot easy to sell tax planning work than any other work. Like, let's say the hardest service to sell is bookkeeping because there's no imminent value of having your books right. I mean, of course, it's a huge value, but you can't show it to the client right away. As opposed to selling a tax planning service where you can just show them the numbers. Okay, if you work with me, we're going to do this, and you're going to save $30,000 in taxes. They'll be happy to pay you $5,000. The way I'm approaching it is I try to sell them a bundle package where I show them that, okay, this is what you're going to get out of tax planning. This is what you're going to get out of the fractional CFO service. And the only way I can do all that work for you if you let me do your books, because that's when I'm going to know where you stand. And that's going to give us a clear idea of how to steer forward.
I mean, the bookkeeping versus the tax planning piece is like, I liken it to going to a restaurant and only wanting to spend money like $3 on the broccoli when the French fries and the hamburger and the margarita is where it's at, but that's $25, but it's way better. But you have to make the jump, right? And so the business owner has to be able to afford, the restaurant patron has to be able to afford the whole meal that's where all the really yummy, and not just be like, I'm just going to go cheap and chintz out and only get the broccoli because
exactly. And that's I think that's where the toughest part is, being able to sell it, showing them the taste before they can actually try it. And that's where I think the accountants, that's where I have to shut my accountant's mind and turn on my business owner's mind and be able to work on my selling skills and marketing skills as well. And that's something that I never worked on when I was working for others, and that's the part that I'm enjoying the most. I think because it's the biggest challenge, and I think that's where if I am able to master that, then moving forward at a pace that I'd like would be a lot easier.
Let's talk a little bit about the sweet spot that your clients say yes to, because so as I look at the people that I work with, they have different kinds of sweet spots for what their clients want. And yours seems to be very much in this teens range, right? Like $12,500, $17,500, that kind of range annually. You talked a tiny bit about that service. Can you expand on it a bit about what's included for the price?
I offer tiers of services. And that's something that I've learned from you, of course. I had no idea even if that was possible. So I offer tiers of services. Like I'm going to give them, when I send out a proposal, I just tell them, listen, if you want to do just taxes, this is what you're going to pay me. And if you're going to do bookkeeping and taxes, that's what you're going to pay me. If you're going to if you're going to do bookkeeping, CFO service and taxes, tax planning, everything, then that's what you're going to pay me. A lot of times, a lot of my clients are not at a point where they need any CFO service. So I end up getting a lot of clients who only need, not a lot, but I end up getting few clients who only need tax and bookkeeping. And the price range, the way I price it, it completely depends on the amount of work involved. I don't charge them hourly because there are only so much hours in a day, so you'll be stagnant if you're doing that at some point. It can range anywhere from $100 per week all the way to $300 per week, depending on the amount of work involved. And that's just taxes and bookkeeping. If you're doing the CFO service as well, then it can be anywhere from $350 per week all the way up to $700 per week, depending again on the amount of work involved.
Awesome. Great. I love it. Some people are reluctant or hesitant or trepidatious to outsource for a variety of reasons. You outsource your bookkeeping and you're really happy with it. So can you give listeners a bit of a sense of how that's working for you?
Oh, it's working very good. And I think bookkeepers are a weird breed, most of them are freelancers. It's really hard to find a good bookkeeper and then to retain him or her. A lot of times what happens is you work with the bookkeeper and they'll, for a firm, for a small firm like myself, when I engage with the bookkeeper, they'll have other clients as well. And, it's just hard for them for us to make them focus on the work that they're doing because they have their hands in a lot of other pots. And again, if you're working with just one person as opposed to working with one big company, then you'll be dependent a lot on this one individual. And if they're sick or they're out or they want to take a vacation or they just change their mind of they want to work with you or anything along those lines, then your business is going to be pretty much paralyzed at that point until you find a new person. As opposed to this whole outsourcing thing that I tried. Now I'm working with a company who employs a lot of bookkeepers. So even if the one that I'm working with is out or is on vacation, they're gonna assign it to someone else who can take care, who can fill in for my bookkeeper, and it's not gonna delay anything on their part. They're professional. They are very efficient. And you can just count on them. And it's been a very good experience. And they're very reasonably priced as well. That's something that is just amazing that, we were always told that, you're CPA, which is wrong, by the way. We're always told that you're a CPA, so, you don't want to do bookkeeping. It's not worth your time. Well, this part is true. Yeah, it's not worth my time doing bookkeeping. But, there are professionally trained bookkeepers out there who can do that for a CPA like me who understand bookkeeping better than I do and who like doing bookkeeping, as opposed to someone like me who doesn't. So engaging, like teaming up or partnering up with other professionals like that gives you a lot of time to focus on what you like. And again, a stream of income as well, for which you sometimes don't have to do anything, or just have to do like minimal work. And that's what I'm doing. Like currently, my margin with that because of that outsourcing is like 85 to 90%. So in other words, I basically get 85 to 90% of the monthly recurring revenue by doing pretty much no work or very minimal work at times. So I think this, if executed properly, this whole bookkeeping part of the work can be very lucrative, I think.
Yeah, and highly scalable too.
Oh, yes, totally. I think in my experience, you can add $10,000 of monthly recurring to your business every year. It's very easy to do. I someone like me who doesn't know much about sales and marketing was able to do it, was able to add like almost $8-9 grand in monthly recurring revenue in just 6-7 months. So, when you look into long term, like, in 4 or 5 months, you could be at a very, very good position cash flow wise.
And how about the quality? People are often rightfully so concerned about the quality.
Well, yes, the quality is something that you have to watch out for. There are people out there who, sometimes do suboptimal work, and it's a miss or hit sometimes. I mean, you have to find the right people. I was lucky to find the right people the first time. I won't say that I haven't seen any better bookkeeping work before. That won't be true. But again, for the price and for the fact that they have completely taken it off my plate, the kind of work they're doing is very, very acceptable for me. I mean, yeah, it's a very valid concern that when you outsource work, the quality can be compromised. But I think it's still possible to find someone who can do a good quality work at a very reasonable price.
So given where you are now and just how much things have changed, transformed over the last year, what do you see looking forward? What are the opportunities in front of you? What are you excited about?
I think I'm enjoying the way the numbers are looking right now. It has allowed me to focus on a lot of other things, and especially this new line of services that we've started that has, taken a lot of work off my plate and allowed me to focus on other things as well. So I think the opportunities that I'm looking for are just being as focused as possible and, take up more and more of real estate work and build that niche, and just zero in as much as possible. Like 10 years from now, I would want to have more than one niche, again, just to avoid putting all my eggs in one basket. But I think even at that point, having one niche or like maybe two niches would be sufficient. So I'm just looking to build my business, getting more real estate clients and getting more advisory work, which is a completely different approach than what I used to take a year ago. And yeah, just build my practice, a practice that allows me to do other things as well, where I don't have to work 80 hours a week.
Yeah. So if for listeners who, might be in the shoes that you were wearing a year ago, or are kind of thinking of heading out into adding advisory, which is a lot of folks who want to add it, but it's just so nebulous as to how to do it. What can you share? What mistakes did you make, or what regrets do you have, or what would you have done sooner? What would you say to folks who might be, 6 months, a year, 18 months behind you?
The mistake that I did was not adding other lines of services in my practice earlier, and honestly speaking, we once we started working together, that's when I was looking for bookkeeping work, but I actively started looking since April, and it's just been like 6-7 months. And that was, I think, a mistake. I got some bad advice initially, where I was told that, being a CPA, you should only be doing taxes or tax preparation more than anything else. That's going to cripple you down to a great extent, and it's going to, it's going to just hold you down. I think that's definitely not the approach that I would want to take. Another thing that I learned is that you don't have to know everything. You just need to know more than what your clients do. And, as long as you are just brushing up your skills regularly, soon enough you'll know whatever you need to know in order to expand your practice. But to start with, a lot of times, you'd think that, okay, since I don't know everything, I shouldn't start, but that's not the case. I started when I know absolutely nothing about a fractional CFO service. I still don't know a whole lot, but it's getting better every day. The more you work with clients, the more you learn, the more you see what they need and what they're actually seeking and how you can add value. I waited too long to know it all, and I realized that it's just not practical for anyone to know it all. You just need to know more than your clients, and that's all you need to get started.
I love that. You will never know it all. There's way too much to know.
Exactly.
Yeah. If I can pile on, the way to learn is to do it, and you learn by doing it. because you find out what you need to learn.
That's a great idea. I know.
So this has been really great. I really appreciate that you were willing to come on and share your experience and how it's been for you with listeners, because I know they'll find value in it. So where can people find you if they have questions, or maybe we have some real estate investors listening in the crowd, or maybe some CPAs who want to unload their real estate investor clients? How can people find you?
Well, the easiest way to find me is through my website, which is orangecountytaxplanning.com. That's how most of my new clients through my website or through my digital presence. So you can just Google Orange County Tax Planning, and you'll see me right there.
And can people connect with you on LinkedIn? Are you active there still?
Oh yeah, I'm active. I'm very active on LinkedIn, and yeah, definitely anyone is welcome to connect with me over LinkedIn. I'd love to.
This has been really great. Shaan Afridi, thank you so much for coming on the Business Strategy for CPAs podcast.
Thank you, Geraldine. Had a great time. Thanks a lot.
Are you still digging out from tax season, even though multiple deadlines have passed? Are you looking down the barrel of the next tax season, wondering how you're going to make it all work? If you desperately want to be somewhere different 6 months from now, but you feel overwhelmed by change, head on over to shethinksbigcoaching.com to check out the results clients get from working together. Then take the next simple, small step and subscribe to my Daily Drip newsletter. You'll get one easily digestible tip a day on how to position your business, how to price your services, and how to sell outcomes so that you can be more profitable, get your time back, and get off the tax hamster wheel for once and for all. That URL again is shethinksbigcoaching.com. All right, that's it from me. Have a great week.